Okay, welcome folks to the help video for task C. Now I'm assuming if you're here, you've already done task B and you understand that fully, because if you don't understand task B, then you're going to struggle with task C. So task C is just basically a similar sort of thing again, but with word problems, the sort of thing that you would get in an exam. So, and you still need to use the formula triangle. You're still going to need to turn hours and minutes into a decimal. So for example, on this question, 3 hours, 15 minutes is definitely not 3.15. Let's just cross that out. We need a proper decimal for that. So let's have a look. So a journey in a helicopter lasts for 3 hours, 15 minutes, during which time the average speed is 95 kilometers per hour. How far is the helicopter traveled in this time? So the first thing you're going to do is draw your speed, distance, time triangle. I'm not actually using an interactive whiteboard here, so it's pretty fiddly the way I'm doing it. So SDT, remember that for your exams, and especially your GCSEs, speed, distance, time, S on the left, D in the middle, T on the right. Always a good thing to revise that. And then you can start filling in what you know. So we know that the speed is 95 kilometers per hour. So underneath the S, I'll write 95. The time is 3 hours, 15 minutes. But as I've already said, you can't just go putting in 3.15. One of the marks in the question, you could get 3 marks for this question. And one of the marks in the question is simply for changing the 3 hours, 15 minutes into the correct decimal. So 3 hours, 15 minutes is 3 hours and 15 sixtieths of an hour, because every hour's got 60 minutes. 15 and out of 60 simplifies. You probably would recognize that straight away as a quarter of an hour. Okay, but they're not all as easy as that. So you might, first of all, with this one, say, right, well, they both divide by 5. So 5 into 15 goes 3 times. 5 into 60 goes 12 times. Nothing wrong with taking an extra step if you can't see that it's a quarter straight away. And then 3 out of 12, you probably would realize that they both divide by 3. So 3 threes into 3 goes once, 3s into 12 goes 4 times. So it's 3 1/4 hours, and obviously 3 1/4 hours is 3.25 hours. So that's what goes underneath the time, 3.25. The thing that you're trying to find is what you cover up. So you cover up the distance, because we're trying to find the distance, and what you see left is what you've got to do. If it's the bottom 2 things that are left, you remember that those ones are times together. So we're going to have to do 95 times by 3.25. So if I come away to my calculator, 95 times 3.25, 95 times 3.25, press equals, that's 308.7. So that is my final answer for my distance, and I should really write it up here next to distance. So it's 308.75. And because we're talking about a distance and the question's in the speed was in kilometers per hour, this distance must be in kilometers. So that is your final answer to the helicopter question. Okay, let's do another one. So this time we've got an aeroplane, looks like some sort of fighter jet, could be an army fighter jet, this one, rather than a commercial passenger plane. So an aeroplane covers 412.5 miles in 1 hour, 15 minutes. What is the average speed of the plane in this journey? Well, seeing as we're talking about miles for the distance and hours and minutes for the time, it's going to be in miles per hour, mph, commonly abbreviated to, in speed, so miles per hour. And we need to figure out the average, what that average speed is. So first thing we're going to do is draw ourselves the triangle. Okay, remember to revise this topic: SDT, speed, distance, time. S on the left, D in the middle, T on the right. Start filling in the things that you know. So the distance we know, 412.5 miles. So I'm going to stick a 412.5 at the top there. That's the distance. Obviously, you've got to get the right things in the right place. Otherwise, you're going to completely get your calculation wrong. The time is 1 hour, 15 minutes. Now, that is most definitely not 1.15 as a decimal. Utter nonsense if you're thinking that. You're just rushing it and not thinking it through. So as a fraction, that would be 1 whole 1 and 15 sixtieths. Okay, hopefully you know that 15/60 is a quarter of an hour. But if you didn't know that, you would spot that they both divide by 5. So 5s into 15 goes 3 times. 5s into 60 goes 12 times. So that's 1 3/12. So 3/12, again, they both divide by 3. So 3s into 3 goes once. 3s into 12 goes 4 times. So that's 1 1/4 hours. And 1 1/4 is 1.25. Okay, so obviously your time is 1.25. Now, the reason why this one is different is because the thing that we're trying to find on the previous question, we were trying to find the distance, which was at the top of the triangle. Now we're trying to find the speed, which is at the bottom. So you cover that in, cover that up, or shade it in, whichever. And what you see left is what you've got to do. Well, I can see D over T. D over T is basically D divided by T. So we've got to do 412.5 divided by 1.25. So let's go back to the calculator. 412.5 divided by 1.25. 412.5 divided by 1.25. And my answer is 330. So go back to your speed, 330, and we've already said that because it was miles and hours, this is miles per hour. So your final answer to this question is 330 miles per hour. Now that sounds fast, but don't forget when you see a fighter plane, an army fighter jet flying overhead, it is going absolutely super fast. So 330 miles per hour is probably about right. Okay, so some of the fractions you guys have got to deal with might be a little bit harder than the ones I've done in these examples, but don't forget, you just simplify the fraction and then turn it into a decimal. So for example, if I just pick a random number, so let's say 28 minutes out of 60, you would simplify that. That would become 14 out of 30. 14 out of 30 becomes 7 out of 15. You can't simplify 7 out of 15 anymore. So you'd go to your calculator, you'd and that would give you your decimal, which in this case is 0.46 recurring. This 7 at the end, the calculator just rounded that. So these 60s actually go on forever. The 7 has just been rounded because the calculator doesn't like putting digits in forever. It just rounds it at the end. So that's actually 0.46 recurring. 28 minutes is 0.46 recurring of an hour. Okay, so that should be all you need to crack on with that now. So good luck, and don't forget to check your answers at the end. Cheers, everyone.